Dare you? Let's talk about something that doesn't get said enough. Not to blame, but to understand. Where men tend to struggle and know, not all men, but enough that it shows up in relationships over and over again. Let's start with emotional unavailability. Dear you, this is not always because a man doesn't care. Sometimes it's because he was never taught how to care out loud. He was taught to provide, to protect, to stay strong. But no one showed him how to say, I'm hurting, I'm overwhelmed, I need you. So what does he do instead? He withdraws, he distances, he becomes quiet when things get heavy. And to the woman it feels like rejection, like disconnection, like he just doesn't care. But in many cases he simply doesn't know how to translate what he feels into words. Now let's talk about avoiding vulnerability. Vulnerability requires exposure. And exposure for many men feels like risk. Because somewhere along the way he learned that opening up could be used against him. That showing too much could make him look weak. So instead of opening up, he guards himself. He'll joke, he'll deflect, he'll change the subject. Anything but sit in a moment where he feels seen too deeply. Dear you, understand this clearly. A man who avoids vulnerability will struggle to create deep intimacy. Because intimacy requires truth, not performance. Now let's go deeper, shutting down instead of talking. Conflict happens, but how it's handled determines everything. Some men, when faced with emotional confrontation, don't engage, they retreat. Not always out of disrespect, but out of overwhelm. They don't have the tools, they don't have the language. Instead of saying the wrong thing, they say nothing at all. Silence becomes their defense. But that silence becomes distance. And that distance slowly breaks connection. Dear you, silence does not resolve, it delays and often deepens the issue. And then we have ego and control. This one is real. For some men, identity is tied to control. Control of situations, control of outcomes, and sometimes control within the relationship. So when they feel challenged, corrected, or questioned, it doesn't just feel like a conversation. It feels like a threat. And instead of listening, they defend. Instead of understanding, they assert. Because ego says, I must be right, I must lead, I must not lose ground. But hear this, dear you. A man who cannot release his ego cannot fully receive love. Because love requires humility. It requires listening. It requires growth. Now let's be clear. This is not an attack, this is awareness, because growth starts where truth is acknowledged. And for the men who are willing to do the work, to communicate, to open up, to be accountable, they become powerful in a different way. Not just strong in presence, but strong in connection. And for the women listening, understanding these struggles does not mean tolerating dysfunction. It means recognizing patterns and deciding what you will accept and what requires growth. Dear you, the goal is not perfection. It is awareness, effort, and evolution. Because when a man learns to open, to communicate, to lead without control, he doesn't just change the relationship, he elevates it. Stay tuned. There's much more to come. From the heart of Phoebe.